Okay, my name is Jeff Leapart. I've got two daughters. One's 28, and my youngest is 14. Um, I've been in the West Michigan area for about 20 years. I moved here from Columbus, Ohio. Um, Met my wife in Columbus, and at the time she had a 4-year-old daughter. And I was at a period in my life where, it's kind of late starting a family, but at the same time, it was perfect timing. I've come to believe that things happen for a reason in your life at certain times. And as I look back on it, um, anything before that time, I wasn't ready.
Oh yes.
I definitely wasn't ready. No matter age wasn't the you know the reason. It was more of just the maturity. Just being ready to um, be a dad or to be in a relationship like that. So anyway, um, but she had a 4-year-old daughter,
Mhm.
and we bonded. First time I met her,
Nice.
we bonded. Did a long distance um, relationship for 4 years. Broke up for a little while, got back together, and the rest is history. Moved up here in '01 and became a dad.
Yeah.
I adopted her daughter in 2003,
Oh wow.
and you know, um, as far as she's concerned, I've always been her dad.
Yeah.
And then we had um, Olivia in '06, and so it's really it's wild doing things, 13 years apart, and to have two different personalities.
Uh-huh.
Um, my oldest daughter, she um, swimmer, played water polo, soccer. My youngest daughter, all she wants to do is dance. You know that for a fact. All she wants to do is, from the time she'll go out in the snow, and started with gymnastics, and um, she's like I said, more of the dancer.
Yeah.
But just like I said, two separate personalities.
I dig it. I dig it. So let me ask you this, because you did say, you found yourself in a situation where you weren't mature enough. If the opportunity had approached you earlier, you wouldn't have been ready for it, essentially, right?
Well, I think for myself, I grew up in a family business, worked
Okay.
with my dad. Um, my dad was self-employed. He had trucks, taught me how to drive. I started driving when I was 8, and did things that you can't do now. Too many cameras around, but I was actually driving. I was actually driving a truck on the road when I was like 11. But I was, and my goal was to what?
Just
Well, you don't believe that?
I just think of an 11-year-old trying to reach the pedals in a
Oh
truck.
man, he was crazy.
Oh,
My dad was crazy.
uh,
He said, he would let me drive off the, when we were kind of off road, and
yeah.
then we get down to the pavement, and I would stop, set the brakes, and switch places. Well, one day he told me to keep on going. So I'm going down the road like this, and the truck is, but I learned how to drive,
Yeah. Yeah.
learned how to shift gears, and I've been driving truck ever since. But anyway, I grew up in family business, and um, saw, kind of a rise, and then a fall in change of regulation, stuff like that. And as he got older, my goal was to take what he started and build on that. And I
Okay.
put 100%. I put everything. I put um, all my time, all my effort, once I got out of high school. I mean, I went to uh, did my freshman year um, at OU and all in all, I think I went to OU, went to Ohio State for a while, a couple of the small universities around town. But I mean, after 3 years, I knew what I wanted to do,
Nice.
and I got the opportunity to expand our business and try to make it what I wanted to
Yeah.
wanted it to be. Well, before you know it, you know, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and I'm just I'm burning myself out. So
Hmm.
all of the things that I should have done when I was younger,
Hmm.
I decided I wanted to do when I was in my mid-20s. And so um, everything that goes with that, um,
Oh,
that lasted for about 10 years, from my mid-20s to my mid-30s. And
okay.
that's going out at night, staying out,
Uh-huh.
hitting the clubs. Um, that's coming home at 2 o'clock, sleeping for 3 hours, and going to work
Yeah.
because I got to go to work. Just nobody's going to go to work for me. So,
Yeah.
um, and I was in relationships, but I wasn't looking back. I knew that they weren't the long term type
Mhm.
things, and you know, um, but I always had that desire. I said, I want to settle down, have a find a person to marry, a good wife, and have kids and have that family.
Okay.
And like I said, they um, met this girl on a blind date, and you know, got to know each other, this, that, and the others. Knew that she had a child from the beginning, and I was, fine with that. And once again, like I said, when the first time I met her, we just bonded. I mean, it was like I knew her. I mean, she's all, crawling all on my back. And I mean, just,
Right.
I
Right.
tell her about that now. I tell her about that now at 28, and she's like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Thinking back.
But yeah, um, it was just
Yeah.
a mindset that I guess I can't really explain it because it's probably different for everybody. But for me, it was a mindset like, okay, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do.
Hmm.
This is who I want to spend, my life with. Um, her child is a part of my life, and I want to have more kids with them.
Was there something
And
that
so
clicked? Was there something that clicked for you in that instance, or was it just a build up to that point?
it was a build. It was kind of a build up.
Okay.
I had when we were dating, I had um, friends tell me it's like, well, she's got a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you always taking? And for me, it was the package deal. It was like, you have a child. If we go out, she's going.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times when we were out on our own,
Mm-hmm.
got a babysitter or whatever. But 90% of the time, when we went, she went.
Yeah.
And so I mean, and I was cool with that.
Yeah.
I was good with that, and so it became a natural thing.
Okay.
And then when she moved back to Grand Rapids, um, it was kind of a difficult because you had that bonding that um, that relationship, and then then trying to do a long distance thing because I wasn't ready to give up my business. I wasn't ready to
Mm.
make a move. I had all my families in Columbus. It was just
Yeah.
a lot of decisions to make. So, but I knew what I wanted, and I knew that it took 4 years to get to where I needed to be, but I had made the decision that I was going to move to Grand Rapids to
Nice.
make it happen. So,
Nice. So fast forward, a few years. You now have two girls. Um,
Yes.
how was that? And I guess I should say, was there a transition at that point? Because you have essentially your adopted daughter at this point,
Hmm.
and she's been in the picture, but she's been by herself this whole time. Now here comes
Hmm.
the new baby, right? And
Hmm.
there is that like biological thing that falls in. How was that transition for you, for your family?
Well, first of all, as far as my daughter is concerned, my oldest daughter, that was her desire to have a little sister, a little brother. She didn't care. She was ready to have a sibling. Um, and just because you know, whatever forces, it took that period of time
Hmm.
before she got a sibling. But that was her desire to have that. As far as I was concerned, that was a desire I wanted. Um, I mean, it wasn't that, yes, I need to have a child that's mine, I mean, but it was, um, we both, my wife and I both had, decided we wanted another child.
Yeah.
And if we couldn't have a natural child, we were going to adopt.
Okay.
We actually took, um, um, after Olivia was born, we actually, um, looked into foster to adopt because we wanted more, we wanted more children, but that wouldn't be possible naturally.
Okay.
So we looked into foster to adopt, which after those classes, they give you the worst case scenario because that's what you're up against sometimes.
Right.
Um, but and we left it up to our daughter. We said, hey, our oldest at the time, and she said, how do you feel about this? And she was like, I'm happy with Olivia. I'm happy with my sister, my biological sister.
Right.
And so we respected that. And in the back of my mind, I know that what we wanted to do was help possibly another child,
Right.
but that
Right.
would be the hardest thing in the world for me, is to get attached to a child and then have to give that child back.
Yeah.
And so everything worked out for,
Yeah.
the way it was supposed to. But no, it wasn't that overwhelming desire that I had to have, you know, blood of my blood, just
Right.
because um, I basically, technically had, my
Yeah.
two daughters. They're my daughters,
Yeah.
and I was their dad. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. So what do you feel like within this process, right? Parenting, you have two older daughters now, you have an adult daughter. So at that point, you're like,
Hmm.
you've experienced all the levels, right? Like me,
Right.
I'm just starting out. I'm sure you're probably looking at me like,
Yeah,
wait till you see.
I enjoy watching you. I'm like, we often said, my mom always told me, she said that I hope that you have, and she was always, I hope you have a little boy just like you.
Oh,
Well, Mom, I have a girl who's just, I mean,
there you go.
she is exactly,
There you go.
little Olivia was like little Jeffrey. I mean, I from the time,
Yeah.
and to the point, it's so bad, it's to the point that when I look at her, I can tell her, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. What? And she'll say,
Right,
what? And I'm
right.
like, I know what you're thinking. Don't even think about it.
Uh-huh.
So,
That's funny.
and and with the two girls with their different personalities, it's
Yeah.
like, um, Olivia, once again, was like her dad,
Mhm.
hard-headed I mean, and when she was 3 years old, we had just gotten our first, you know, flat screen. First, I think it was a 48-inch flat screen, a week before the Super Bowl. And we had a snowstorm, and she couldn't go to daycare. Everybody, I was even off from work.
Yeah.
And her aunt gave her a whistle for her birthday, a plastic whistle and a plastic lanyard.
No, that's not nice.
And the whistling wasn't bad, but what she did was she was spinning around.
Oh.
And I told her, Olivia, do not swing the whistle. Okay. I go from the family room to the kitchen. I hear this pop, and then a ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. And I come out, and there was a fist-size hole in my TV.
Mm.
And I look at her, and I looked at the TV, and I looked at her, and I looked at the TV again, and I just told her, I said, just go to your room.
Yeah.
Now, I learned from, when I was growing up, I mean, it was, it was physical pain,
Yeah, you got that butt whoop.
physical pain.
Yeah.
But I learned from my wife, actually, because with my oldest daughter, the first time that I saw her chastise her, the first time that she did something she wasn't supposed to, she got grab the jaw, bring you in close, talk to your teeth, and the child was left just shaking.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that works. And I found out, okay, I think Olivia, I had to swat her maybe once since she's been on this earth, and that's where I think she stomped her foot and told me no or something. But for the most part, just the look.
Yeah.
You give her the look, the right look, and she knows that,
Yeah.
but so I know that works for both of them.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's just different.
Yeah.
Different times,
Yeah.
different situations. I remember my oldest getting her first phone. It was first it was a flip phone, then it was the one that you slide.
Yeah.
And it used to drive me crazy because she would text and then slide it closed, then open it and text and close it, then open it and text and close. I'm like, what are you doing?
Just leave the phone open.
What are you doing? And
all right.
and then you got the first bill, not knowing how much texting costs. She did 10,000 texts in a month. Verizon sent us the bill. We liked the die. They did. They offered us, they reduced it because they said, this is what time it is, folks.
Wow.
Olivia has a phone with unlimited texting now, and
yeah.
So it's just this different things. You go with the technology change and everything, but for the most part, a lot of what we did with our older daughter, we've done with Olivia. We changed a few things.
Yeah.
I was always I'm a very protective dad. I mean, most dads are with their girls. I mean, but I'm very protective, and I remember my older daughter wanting to go to a party or a sleepover or something, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
No. And then I was talked to by my wife and said, okay, this is that, this is what you need to think about. And I learned that okay, you cannot hold on like this.
Yeah.
You have to loosen your grip sometimes. You teach them right from wrong. You teach them what to look out for. You know, you just teach them. First of all, you teach them that outside of this house, if you need me or your mom, if you need us, we don't care. We don't care what time it is. You need us, call.
Absolutely.
And you know, that goes for both of them.
Hmm.
Even though my oldest is going to be married this year, but it's still, if you need me, call.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I learned to loosen that grip a little bit. I still, you know, once in a while, I still have to kind of,
Yeah.
you know, but I've learned through the years that it's gotten a little easier.
Yeah, I
Gotten a
would say
little easier.
that's a lesson I learned myself too. You know, it's like I've gotten to the point where the concept is now just simply you teach them all you can teach them. You provide a safe space so that they feel comfortable coming and talking to you, or
Mhm.
sharing with you. And then at some point, all you got to let go of the reins, and to the point where you let them fall. You just you just can't let them fall to the point where they can't recover. Right. So
Right.
I let
Right.
my girls
Right.
fall all the time, but I'm not gonna let you, jump off a building. Yeah, I'll let you graze your
Right.
knees,
Right.
but there's a certain limit. So yeah, I completely agree with you there.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you've learned most about yourself though since becoming a dad? Because that's a whole other
Uh,
that's a whole other transition in life, a shift in life when you really turn it over and start to really put this little person.
Yeah. It's patience. A lot of patience. A lot of um realizing that girls are different.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Girls um, are emotional.
Really?
Um, you know, there were times when when I'm telling you, teenage years,
Mm. Mm.
teenage
Mm.
years, when they just cry for no apparent reason. Mom understands. Okay. Sometimes it's just like just like mine is typical guy.
Right, right, right.
What's wrong? Can I fix it? Let me
Uh-huh.
fix it. What's wrong? Can I fix it? Can I fix? No,
Okay.
it's like it's not something that you can fix. Just let it go.
Let me get this out.
But I can. Nope. Nope.
Hmm.
Nope. I mean, right now, Olivia will tell me at times she'll be frustrated with something and she'll be venting, and I'll try to tell her, well, this is what, Dad, just let me vent. Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay.
That is really cool
Yeah.
that you have that dynamic to where you she can just so she feels comfortable enough to share with you, but in
Yeah.
addition to that, in addition to being comfortable, you guys have such a bond where she kind of knows, your dad, you're going to try to fix it, but she can articulate, hey,
Mm.
it's not a fixing time. I
Yeah.
just get this. I need to work through it.
Right.
Let me work through this. Just be an ear for me
Right.
and drop some
And
suggestions.
then and that's after that point, then there's a time. Okay, if you ask me for my opinion or my help, then I can offer you that my insight, and then leave it up to you.
Yeah. Huh. So what would you say is the most rewarding part for you about being a dad?
Leave whether what I have to say is what you need or not.
So what would you say is the most rewarding part for you about being a dad?
Um, Watching them grow and develop. Hires, um, I guess, for my oldest daughter to come back and you know tell me that something that I told her when she was young. Um,
Wow.
okay, you knew what you were talking about. Or the other day she actually apologized. She said, Dad, I'm so sorry that I was an idiot and I didn't, and she said, yeah, she just said that she's, as she's just gotten older, she just sits back and thinks. And I, I always tell her, or like I said, she had a period where she was struggling, and we let you struggle, but we're not going to let you go. So, to know that she had that, that we were there for, that I was there for.
Okay.
But, just the fact that, I guess, like you said, you try to impart as much wisdom learned through the years and stuff like that. I think you froze up again on me.
Yeah, yeah. You're going out. You got me?
Yep.
Okay, you're frozen. You're frozen
Is
on
our
me.
connection bad?
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
I got you back.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's very interesting. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's just, yeah, it's just, just watching them grow, watching them become young women, strong women, women that, you know, um, I mean, both of them, they're not going to take anything from anybody, so.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome. So let me ask you, in all this, there's a certain level of caveman DNA that comes in as a man. You're,
Mhm.
protector, you're a defender, you're a provider, you're dot dot dot, right? Or at least the stigma
Mhm.
of the personality, right? So what would you say, just witnessing the fact that you have, raised such strong will, strong minded young ladies, what would be your biggest fear for your kids in the world that we live in?
It's always been to prepare them for the world out there. I mean, I told them from a young age that the world doesn't care anything about you. Care they The world doesn't care about your suffering. They don't care about your problems. They don't care about anything. And but to be, um, I guess, I don't know what a. I guess my biggest fear is that maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's
Mm,
something that I try to use my experience. I've tried to use what I've learned through the years. I've tried my experiences. I've relayed them. I know things change through the years. I know things change. Things are changing daily.
yeah.
I mean, every moment. And um, the fact that I have my older daughter to rely, I mean, there's a lot of the, you know, new technology, a lot of social media stuff. There's things that she has trouble with, but at the same time, she and her younger sister have the relationship that she can help her along, or she can I mean, they have that relationship where they can talk about anything.
Hmm.
And so I try to do my part, um, you know, to pass whatever wisdom I have on to them and try to prepare them from my experiences. But I know there's other things out there in the world that
Yeah.
I haven't experienced, but at the same time, for the most part, there's nothing new out there.
Yeah.
It just changes. It's the same old game. It just changes the way it appears.
Field. Yep.
So,
I'm with you there. So, um, it seems like, and just based off of, my experiences with Olivia, my interactions with you, you guys are doing an awesome job as parents, and that kind of stuff always, I feel like it always shows through your kids, right? Like I always like, and personalities are different, and so maneuvering those are can always be a challenge. but I feel like the parent definitely trickles down onto the kids, and that's how you end up with, for the most part, not all cases, but for the most part,
Mhm.
good adults, good growing kids. What kind of lessons, or what's, I guess, what was the best lesson, if you could think of one, that you feel like you got from your parent?
Um, well, both of my parents, they grew up um, down south. Well, first of all, I had two moms. My birth mom I had up until I was 9 years old, and she actually passed away on this day when I was 9, 23rd of March. But then I was blessed to have a second mom, not a stepmom, um, a second mom who loved me, loved us. I have like I said, a brother and three sisters,
Mhm.
and loved us as if she had given birth to us. And I think that relationship kind of rubbed, the fact that we were her adopted kids,
Mhm.
so to speak, and the love from that. Um, and the fact that she was adopted. I mean, she lost her mom when she was growing up when she
Oh,
was
wow.
4 years. So it was kind of just that the experience of that. But my parents grew up in the South, um, and they taught us more than anything. They taught us all work ethic. They worked hard. They came up hard. Um, Anytime we complained about hard work, mom would remind us that we didn't have to pick 100 pounds of cotton.
Mhm.
Okay. And dad remind us that we didn't have to plow so many acres,
Mhm.
and the fact that we watched them work,
Yeah.
and we got the work ethic from them. And the same thing, I think my daughters have kind of watched their parent, watched me and my wife. You know, we were blessed to have good jobs, and we've um, taught them that, hey, this is what you have to do to survive.
Yeah.
And so I think our work ethic, the fact that education is important, um, um, just being basically a good person. Both of my daughters, I'm proud that they're loving people, they're caring people, they're you know um, just good people.
Yeah.
You try to um, instill that in them. But
Hmm. Very nice. So, just thinking about it, right? Because obviously I have two little girls, and my interactions with my girls um have been, I would say, strongly influenced, just based off of my, you know background, my past. I don't have a great
mhm,
relationship. I don't have a relationship with my dad. I have never really had a consistent male figure in my life personally, and I think part of that is why I tend to go over and above for my girls, because the fear of
mhm,
them going through what I went through just drives me insane. And it's partly why I find myself, when I speak to people who are good parents, like I said, you can always see the growth in a child, and you can tell this is somebody's taking the time, right?
mhm,
um and it's one of those things that I go, okay, that's amazing. And when I think about where I am today with my girls, and how I make sure I go the extra mile to instill these lessons, to make sure that I'm present, to make sure that I'm available, conscious, not just in the house with you while you're doing your thing and I'm doing my thing, but
mhm,
if I'm not going to be in your space, because they have their moments where they're like, all right, move, old man.
Right. Right.
You know, but
Mm.
but if I'm in, you know, if I'm in the space with you and I'm present, I'm making sure that I'm conscious. Do you feel like, or I should say, what do you feel like has been some of the most, well, how would I say it? Some of the most impactful moments with you and your girls. Like, what do you think, if you could think of a time where you just, you know, you were available and you were like, man, I'm glad I was available to hear this story or to be there to be a shoulder to cry on. Can you think of one or two?
Yeah. It's amazing how things work themselves out. I mean, when my older daughter was coming up, when she was Olivia's age, I was at my job probably been there 5 or 6 years, but I was still pretty much driving every day, and I was working overtime. Um, there were some times where I worked every weekend. I tried to, I was working every hour I could,
Yeah,
try to, doing that. If the overtime was offered, I was there.
yeah.
But I always made it a point. She was involved in, like I said, swimming, and at the first it was soccer, and then swimming, and then later water polo in high school. I tried to be at every game. Tried to be, you know, um, I sat out in the rain for soccer.
Mhm.
I have swim meets, you know, event 2, heat 6 of 57. Here you know, I've done that, and I feel the same way even with Olivia and her dancing. I try to be there, whenever she's got a competition or whatever, and I think to see both of them excel and to do really well, and then to look, um, when my daughter was playing water polo, to see her score and then look up and see us that we were there. I
Mm,
was there to see her,
yeah,
to do, you know, to do something like that, and to see Olivia hit an aerial, and she can't, she just can't stop. She'll glance and she'll hit me with that smile,
oh,
and you know, to
yeah,
know that we're there. You
yeah,
know, so it's just the little stuff like that. I think another thing, my older daughter, um, she had an incident in 8th grade,
okay.
and a girl was kept picking with her, and she just just trying to get on the bus,
Hmm.
just walking away trying to get on the bus.
Okay.
Well, this girl wasn't having it, and she actually grabbed her by the hair and swung her around. Well,
Oh,
um, that was the wrong thing to do. So she pretty much beat this child down and
no.
got on the bus and came home. Well, as I started to say, I've been blessed that I've been able to be home in the afternoons. I could, from 8th grade on, I was able to be home when she got off the bus.
Nice.
Somebody was home. If I wasn't home, I was there shortly after.
Yeah.
Um, and so she comes in the house, as she always did, and you kind of know something's wrong. And then she just broke down,
Mm,
and once again, she told me the other day, she said that was one of the times that she was glad that I was there.
yeah.
She didn't know what she would have done if I hadn't been there.
Right.
She just broke down, and kind of it. I was just glad that I was able to be there to comfort her at that time. Olivia with that's one of the good things about the pandemic. She would normally ride the bus to school this year, and as it is now, her mom takes her to school in the morning, and I pick her up, and we get that
Quality time.
bonding time, from school to home, even though it's a 5-minute ride. And then I get to bond with her going to dance, dropping her off for classes. And so, that's just,
Yeah,
it's a feeling, man. It's
I dig it.
it's great.
In those moments, those what we call the small, simple moments.
Mhm.
You never really get them back, and you go through and you think of moments, and they might be small, but they can have such a big impact. I mean, I took Mariana out on a daddy-daughter date on Saturday, and I Sunday, Saturday afternoon, evening, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, all I heard about was our daddy-daughter date. Our daddy-daughter date.
Yep.
So fun,
Yep.
daddy-daughter date. I'm so glad. And you don't think about it. I don't think about it in the time, because I've got
Mhm.
my girls with me and I give them quality time, but having that individual time also is a big deal, right?
Mhm.
So growing,
Yeah.
I guess, in that time, Olivia was born, and you have your oldest. How do you feel like, or how did you work on separating that time and allowing for both of them to have that quality time without being like, okay, we're all just here?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I guess, well, I got to bond with my oldest daughter at the time because I got to do things with her because, once again, I'm taking her to practice. I'm taking her, with that little short period of time we're together.
Right.
We're going to her swim meets or water polo or whatever. While Olivia, um, I'm fighting with trying to keep her from the time, in her swaddled in her crib. But no matter how I tried, I could never get it tight enough. It was like she's Houdini and I'm out. Up until I would be I get up at 4:30 in the morning. That's what time I start,
Yeah.
To be at work. So when she was young in her crib, I would be the one that would catch her standing up and demanding the attention. And so, little stuff like that. And then as she grew, the 13 years apart, it was it was much easier. I guess it would be harder. Like your daughters are a year apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think with the time separation, it's my oldest daughter was at a different stage. She's,
Yeah.
when Olivia was born, she was in 8th grade. So, she started to do stuff as a freshman in high school, moving, and so, we would spend the time with her activities.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then we're kind of, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's you're doing different things with them, kind of I was able to spend time with both of them, the quality time with both of them, just because, while one was, at practice here, got Olivia time.
Yeah.
And when she's home, then I have time to, and she's also at that point where okay, Dad, hey,
Okay.
I love you, see you. Um, you're going from
Yep.
driving me to practice to getting my license and me, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm dealing with, okay, I got 15, 16 here, and I've got 3 here breaking my TV. But, but, it just works. You figure out a way,
Yeah,
to make it work.
that's awesome.
And the fact that they love each other, the fact that there has never been any animosity, the fact that
Mhm.
there is, you know, they just love each other. So it just makes it easy.
That's cool. So, big one for you. We're gonna go back in time, and we're
Hmm.
gonna find you. We're gonna find Jeff, um, from right around where you met your wife, your now wife.
Hmm.
What advice would you give to you going forward, knowing what you know today? What advice would you give to him?
Hmm. My mind is, I went in with an open mind. I went in not knowing what to do, not
Nice.
knowing how to do. I knew how I was raised. I knew the good parts about how I was raised. I knew the bad parts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I knew um, that I had loving parents, but I had parents that um, they showed their love in other ways. I mean, they were there for us. They're always there, but they came from families where they didn't have the affection. They didn't have that affectionate parents.
Yeah.
So I learned that, um, like I said, I had an open mind. I was always going to be um, as loving and caring as I could be. Um, you know, from the beginning.
Hmm.
And then, like you said, you watch what other people do,
Yeah.
and then you kind of look at it and say, okay, that looks good.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that.
Right. Right.
It's
Yep.
just, you have your line where it was funny. I've listened to a couple of the other podcasts, and how the one gentleman said that uh, what has always been something that you don't say in our house.
Interesting.
I call you by your name.
Yeah.
What? No, 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 no. And that's just because that was just the way that
Yeah.
I was raised. And um, so just certain things that you take from the way you were raised, and then you kind of pick and choose.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had to learn. To loosen my grip. I
Mhm.
had to learn to pick my battles.
Ain't that the truth?
Um, as far as yeah, as far as I mean, you can kind of try to rule with the iron fist, and like you said, the whole I'm the man, I'm in charge, I'm in. You know what?
Nope.
It,
No, you ain't.
and it definitely does not work with girls. It does
No,
not work with girls. They will shut down, and you won't get anything.
it's the
You won't
worst,
get anything done.
worst place to be.
So so I had to learn that, though. I
Yeah.
had to learn that. And
Okay.
so I would tell myself, just continue, continue. You started off with an open mind. You got to have an open mind, and just kind of, uh, you know, so see how other people do it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Along with what you know.
Right. Right.
And I think that I had a good upbringing. I had a good life as a child. I didn't want for anything.
That's good.
I've never been hungry in my life.
Yeah.
I've always had shelter, and so my goal was to do that, provide for my family like that. And
Absolutely.
like I said, learn along the way. It was kind of, yeah, learn as you go.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think
Yeah.
that's such a huge deal. Well, man, I can't thank you enough for taking the time out for doing this. I feel like every story has brought so much useful information, not just for me, but for so many other people who listen to this podcast. I find myself, like the other day, I was washing my car and I got through two of the podcasts. I find myself jumping on and just listening to stuff. And, I'm doing
Mhm.
it, but like when I hear it over again and just listening to everybody's story, I don't know. I always find some good information in there. It's funny that you use the word patience, as far as like what you learn, because I feel like that seems to be the theme. Almost every dad is brought up at night. It's like, patience, man. These kids will teach you patience. You think you're a patient
Yes.
person,
Yes.
but these kids will teach you some real patience. So that's awesome. But yeah. Do you have anything going on that you want to put out there, share with the podcast, anything like that?
No, nope. Just, you know, dads keep being dads, man. Just, don't falter. Just stay strong. Keep, when you get tired, just, you know, um, just keep going.
Push through. I dig it. I
Keep
dig it.
going.
Well, hey man, I appreciate it. I'll let you get back to the evening. Tell the family I said what's up, and
I
we'll talk to
will.
you soon.
Take care.
Thank you.